It's time to roll the credits with Chris and Wayne. Hello, I'm Wayne Pyle, and here we are once again with Roll the Credits with Chris and Wayne. We are very grateful to be able to bring you another entertaining interview with a very talented special guest on tonight's show.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. I'm Chris Ty, and Roll the Credits with Chris and Wayne is the official video podcast of the Hunter Mountain Film Festival, which is online again this year from October 22nd through the 24th. And for more information, please check us out at huntermountainfilmfestival.com.
Yes. So, Chris, you and I met in Newburgh when we were both working on Robert Fontaine's film, Me America.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And our special guest tonight is working out of Newburgh, New York, a town that I believe you are quite familiar with.
Well, yeah, born here, been here for more years than I'm willing to admit. But Wayne, there's actually two Newburghs. A lot of people don't know this.
Oh.
There's the town of Newburgh and the city of Newburgh. Now,
Right.
I live in the town of Newburgh, but when I was a kid, I went to elementary school, at least up until fifth grade at private school in the city of Newburgh. And our church was there and all that. My father was a social worker. His office was on Broadway, and we actually filmed in his office.
Oh, wow.
Years later, he didn't know that. He was long gone.
Right.
But
wow, that must have brought back a lot for you.
That's the thing. Being a, how did we say this earlier? Newburghian?
Newburgher.
Yes, that's right. I was in the town, and I never ventured into the city much, but working on that film was so encouraging because it began for me to see, and I'm saying that really weird, I know. It began for me to see, how do you say that in English, Wayne?
It began for me to see, yes, go ahead.
Anyway, I are a voiceover artist. Anyway, so, I began to see how film was reshaping Newburgh. And the Hudson Valley in general. And it was so exciting for me.
Yeah.
And
it's
now,
still happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, before we never really bragged about Newburgh, but now it's especially thanks to people like our special guest, it's really become something to brag about.
Yeah.
It was so exciting.
Yeah, it really has. And I really enjoy going into Newburgh and hanging out at all the great places there. The Warehouse, Dan Brown's awesome burger / music joint with it's like in an 1860s storefront, but has like a 1960s vibe. It's really cool. The Newburgh Brewing Company, they've got those cool retro shuffleboard tables, an amazing selection of beers that they brew right there on premises. And I also really like the Liberty Street Bistro with their Brooklyn vibes and their delicious American cuisine influenced by classic French cooking techniques.
Not to mention the very popular Newburgh waterfront and all its shops and restaurants. And perhaps while you're in Newburgh enjoying those places, you might run into our special guest. She is an award-winning actress, producer, and managing partner and founding member of Choice Films, Inc. and Choice Theatricals.
And as a producer, she has helmed award-winning independent feature-length and short films, off-Broadway and regional theater productions, and chaired an annual celebrity awards gala saluting New York theater and film.
Some feature film projects she's worked on include A Deadly Legend. I think you were in that too, right, Wayne?
I was. That's right.
That's right. Yeah. Beauty Mark, Above All Things, Block Island, Heather, and Wholly Broken.
Additionally, one of my favorite words, our special guest served as a showrunner and line producer for the upcoming television series Big Dogs. She also had a role on that. Some of her other TV projects include Vevo's One Night Only and Little West 12th Street. Her theater projects that she's done include the off-Broadway world premieres of Scrambled Eggs, Reading Under the Influence, and Tune In, as well as revivals of Playing with Fire and Five Women Wearing the Same Dress, and the regional / world premiere of the new plays Between the Lines and American Stare.
She can also be seen and heard in various national and international television and radio commercial spots. Wayne, over 650 of her commercial career, as well as in recurring roles on television shows and feature films. Let me catch my breath here. She also voices multiple characters in several cartoon series.
Awesome.
And Wayne, she was nominated for an International Voicey Award for Best Female Voice Talent for her work as a voiceover artist.
Amazing. And I'm about to introduce her right now. Let's ask the very talented Summer Crockett Moore to come on in to roll the credits with Chris and Wayne. Welcome, Summer.
Oh
Nice to
my
have you
God.
Thanks
You
so much.
You guys, that's you're amazing. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thanks so much for being here.
Yes.
We know you're super busy, and we're really grateful that you're here.
Oh, well,
Yes.
thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm actually sitting in Newburgh right now in the production office. So you may see me hold up things as people come to the door. I'm like,
there you go.
I'm
Yeah,
on
you
a
have
live
that right.
Zoom. I'm like, I'm on a Zoom. I'm like, go.
Nice. It's all good. We're very relaxed,
Yeah.
casual. Sometimes my
Right.
little rescue dogs start yipping in the background and
I
stuff
love
like
it.
that. So yeah,
I love
And-
it.
and
Well,
you
awesome.
can-
Well, thanks for having me.
sure.
Well, you can see how my brain works sometimes. Apparently, I can't talk sometimes, but that's okay. Wayne's used to it. He puts up with me. That's all
That's
good.
why we hired you, Chris. That's
I
Yes.
love it. I
So,
love it.
tell us more about Choice Films and Choice Theatricals.
Sure. So Choice Films, boy, we have turned 21 years old this year.
Wow.
So we are all grown up now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can drink
you.
legally.
That's
Exactly.
right. Yeah. Hey,
Exactly.
drunken filmmaking. Yeah.
It is a company I run with my partner in all things, Tony Glazer.
Yay.
And
Yes.
we produce mostly now television, but feature film, television, and theater. And we have been around since the early 2000s and moved our company to Newburgh in 2017 for the production of Big Dogs, which is one of the shows you mentioned, and never left. We relocated here. We partnered with and are now the managing partners of Umbra Stages, which has kept us in Newburgh. And so we do all kinds of things. We produce our own content. We're for hire, networks hire us to produce their content. We work with independent productions. So it's never a dull moment, but it's a lot of fun.
Great.
That's
Great. Now,
great.
for people who don't know what Umbra is, can you give us a little insight into that? Like, what is your position
Sure.
there, and what's kind of a typical day too? We really want to know, like, the breakdown of your time at Umbra. Yeah.
So Umbra Stages started as one soundstage with support offices when we were there. It existed before us. Now it is about 14 buildings with 6 stages,
Wow.
four of
Wow.
which are online now. We host productions of all sizes. Our largest productions are things like HBO's White House Plumbers,
Right.
and I Know This Much Is True. We also house independent films. Darren Aronofsky's A24 production of The Whale was just with us.
Great.
Really, even commercials and green screen VTR things work with us. We have all different kinds of clients with different budget levels, but it's been an incredibly growing brand, Umbra Stages, and Choice is just thrilled to be partnered. So it's now called Choice Films at Umbra Stages. So
Great.
Oh, nice.
the two work together to kind of,
So do you have an
grow.
official title there, or how does that work?
Yes, we are managing partners.
Okay, great.
And
Good.
we have a large crew of people that work with us as stage managers, as site reps, as in-house, security staff, core production assistants. So it's a pretty big machine that just
Yeah.
it just keeps us busy.
It sounds like you're becoming an all-in-one where they can come to you and you can get the job done in all different
Yes,
areas of
yes.
film. And
That's very nice. Yeah.
Yes,
production.
well, and we have wonderful vendor partners, Lighthouse, Grip and Electric, Four Wall, PRG, Camera.
Great.
So it really is kind of a one-stop shop, which I think is why things have kind of grown so quickly because,
Sure.
in this business, time is money. And if you can move very quickly because things are all in one place, it makes everybody's life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Well,
for
if we
sure.
could rewind a little bit, I'm curious, Summer, how did you get your start in the business?
I knew very early that I wanted to be a storyteller, whatever that meant. I was, I think, 6 years old when I went to my first storytelling festival in
Nice.
Paris, Tennessee, where I grew up. And
Oh, great.
I watched
nice.
these people tell stories. I was like, what is that? That's a thing? Like you
Yeah.
can do that for a living. And so I moved to New York on a musical theater scholarship when I was 17.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And for many, many years was an actor and a voice actor and thrived doing that. And I kind of stumbled into producing at age 24 when my agent at the time said to me, Summer, you're really going to start working when you're 40, but you're, and I was like, what? I was like, wait a minute, I'm 21.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Those things are never easy to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
She was like, you just have to hang on and you have to realize that you're going to grow into your type. And I was like, well, I don't want to grow into my type. I want to play the roles I want to play now.
Yeah.
And so that's how I became a producer, because I wanted to be more involved in the stories that I was telling, and then kind of fell in love with the whole behind the scenes and being a crew member. I mean, when I'm in a movie, just being an actor, I often find myself walking around being like, what else can I do? Can I help you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right.
We got it,
like,
Summer. We got it.
They're like, go back to your trailer, crazy person. Get out of here.
Yeah. Now in your bio, we talked about your voiceover, the 650, things that you've done. We have a sound booth at home here. Heidi and I have a sound, and we do some VO projects here and there, audiobooks and commercials, video games, podcasts. So tell us more about what you do. I saw that you had a credit for Red Dead Redemption 2.
I did. Yes. A pig farm woman,
Oh, nice.
typecasting.
Right. Yeah. But what else? Like, what is how did you get started with voiceover, and what's your sort of favorite way to work in voiceover?
Yeah, it's funny. I went for my first voiceover audition when I was about 22. I didn't know it was a voiceover. I remember dressing up and like doing my hair and makeup.
Right.
And getting there and being like, well, nobody can see me. And it was for a National Crest commercial. And I booked it. I booked my first audition. And I went, well, this is lucrative.
Yeah.
And from there, I really thrived in the commercial voiceover world for a long, long time. And I did legal and medical and, standard announcer. I remember I had the Slim Fast campaign for like 3 years.
Wow.
And,
That's
my
great.
house,
Wow.
right? Like,
That's really great.
That's awesome.
That's
it was
really
the
great.
height of that, this is in the early 2000s when you could still just be a voiceover actor and live.
Right. Yeah.
And from that, I remember I had an audition for a cartoon voice. And I remember thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And when I realized that I could, and that it was really just like playing and doing all different kinds of things, that opened up another whole world for me, which then led to what I think is the weirdest voiceover jobs I've had, which is where I go in and I dub for foreign, for example, I did a whole season of a show called You Are Wanted.
Oh, great.
It was a German show.
Yeah.
And I felt real responsibility to not mess up the performance of the woman who did it so brilliantly in her native language.
Right.
That it was pretty stressful.
I had a friend who would dub from French into English adult movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was like, it's so hilarious. It was so hilarious.
Oh
and she would like do the voice, she would have to do the voices and the sounds and
that's it. That's
more
it.
sounds than voices.
Right. Yeah. So interesting career, right? The things we end up doing, as we're doing.
It's so bizarre when I talk to young actors now, I say, listen, and everybody, is like, I just want to do this type of acting. I was like, you can tell stories in a million different ways. And if you keep yourself open to the possibilities, you're going to have a lot more fun in this industry.
Great. Good advice. Great advice.
Yeah.
And we're going to
come
back to you for more advice later.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, the best piece of advice is make sure you dress up for your voiceover audition.
That's right.
There you go.
Clearly it's going to work.
Clearly today is a voiceover day.
Summer, I actually booked my first one too. My agent sent me in on this thing, and it was for Sonic. For the restaurant.
Gosh. Yeah.
And it was improv. They're like, can you just sing this copy? And I was like, wait, is there any music? They're like, no, we're going to compose music to it after you sing it.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I was like, it's cheesy. And if you please. And they came up with this whole piano thing after the commercial came out. And the two main guys were like, one guy's out in California. The other guy was in New York with me, but you could still do things remote, even back then. So it was awesome.
Sure.
It was
awesome.
I
love that. I love it. And I do love Sonic. Let's give Sonic a plug.
Yeah. There we go. Well, we need some sponsors for the show.
We
Sonic restaurants.
Okay, Sonic. You're up, Sonic. Come on.
There we
go.
So let's talk a little bit more about your acting career. And I'm curious, what has been your biggest challenge as an actor? And then following up, what's been the most rewarding aspect of being an actor?
I would say the most challenging part of being an actor, honestly, is that the uncertainty, right? You have to really prepare yourself for the fact that And now that I'm a producer and I sit on the other side of the table, 9 times out of 10, it's not about who's the best actor. It's about who's the best actor for that part opposite the person they're playing at that time in the world. And once I learned that not being cast was not actually rejection, was just a different choice.
That's right.
I was like, oh, okay. I cannot care so much about
That's right.
you know,
Yeah.
and that was just growing up, that was just, that was going from 25 to 35 and going, oh, it's not personal. Oh,
Right.
okay.
Right.
And also being tall as a woman who is 5'9". I have walked into multiple screen tests. So and I won't say which projects because it'll tell you who the guy was.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
I have walked into multiple life-changing auditions that I'm like, this is it. This is the day. And I get there for the chemistry test or the screen test, and the guy's 5'4", 5'5", 5'6", and I'm like, and I'm your mother.
Right.
In this chemistry read.
Can we get this guy an apple box, please? Yeah. Can we get this guy an apple box? Because I'm taller than he is.
Yeah. So being a tall lady, that's been a challenge, but whatever.
Right.
And then the most rewarding is that I feel like there are 2 different kinds of rewards, right? The reward for film and television is the grueling hours and the days and days and days, and the cost of being in a production like that, to see it then live on, again and again and again, or to sit in a theater and experience the project with people experiencing the project is so rewarding. But live theater, I don't know that there's anything greater than getting to tell the whole story every night.
That's right. All in
with
one.
instant feedback.
With instant feedback. And it's a little bit different every day. I mean, I just had this conversation with my husband a few days ago where, getting excited to be able to go back and see some theater.
Yeah.
And I said, there's just nothing quite like it. And it made me really miss it. I was like,
it's been quite a while. It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
Since I've seen anything or got up on that.
Same on the stage.
Yeah.
I think the last theater thing I did was with you.
Yeah, that's right. We did that reading. Yeah.
Which was so fantastic.
Yeah. And we were all it felt like we all really needed it at that moment.
Yeah, exactly. In the middle of quarantine, in the middle of quarantine.
In the dead, when is this going to end? And
that was a great script. I love that. And we're still in it. Exactly. Yeah.
Was that a Zoom thing?
Yeah, we did a Zoom reading. Yeah.
It was great. Detainee. Detainee was the name of it.
Yeah, that's right. And you've already given us so many great stories already, but I do like to, I always like to ask, is there a funny story from a time on set, whether it's as a producer, as an actor, or something that you could share with us? I just love talking about funny moments that happen when we're trying to make it, because it's so, like you said, it's so stressful, it's so grueling.
Yeah.
But there are some really funny things that happen. So do you have a story about anything
like that?
One,
and this is on my husband, and he's so funny. He said it the other day. We were location scouting at the location that this happened, which was the Newburgh waterfront.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, Summer, when are you going to stop telling this story? I'm like, the 5th of never. I'm never not telling this story. It's so fantastic. So
that's what we want to hear.
Picture it. Circa 2017, the winter.
There we were, 2017.
Exactly.
The before time.
That's
before
right.
time.
Before
exactly.
times,
The before time. This was on the set of Big Dogs, and this was episode 207. If you watch it, it's on Amazon, by the way. So 207, it's on the waterfront, and we're there. And my husband Tony is directing the episode, and we've just had our safety meeting.
Oh boy.
How we're on the edge of the river, and there's there's slippery rocks here, and everybody needs to be alert, and everything's great. And great safety meeting done.
Yeah.
And Tony turns to say, now on this shot, and he just casually backs up.
No.
And there's a patch of algae that nobody saw that looked like grass, and he was like a cartoon character up in the air into the river. People screaming on the walkie, man overboard.
Oh my God.
Tony pops up out of the water with his walkie-talkie in one hand and his phone in the other. And he's like, I'm fine, but take the electronics.
Yeah.
And the stunt coordinator's there and the safety boat's there. And we get him out, and wardrobe puts another whole costume on him, and everything goes on. But he's like, I can't believe I'm the one that fell in the river. And he was,
but of course, right.
He was so charming. It was so charming and so wonderful.
It sounds like he took it well.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Yeah.
did. And you know what? My favorite part was the second AD was like, I can't swim. And I'm like, well, you wouldn't be going in after him.
Right. I can't
Well,
swim.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met Tony. I can picture him. He's a big guy, right?
Yeah, he
So
is.
that just
And
sort of
he's-
adds to the drama.
Yeah, well,
And-
and he's such a cool cucumber, like
Nice.
nothing on set. That's why I love working with him as a director, because no matter what happens,
Oh, that's good.
he's 4 steps ahead, and he's like, we got this,
Nice.
So
He sounds unflappable. As they say.
unflappable is
Yeah.
a very good word. He's the
Even
perfect,
when he goes in the drink.
Yeah, exactly.
I saved the electronics. Yep, right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, timeless.
Nice.
So regarding Big Dogs,
Mhm.
so you were a showrunner, right?
Yes.
On Big Dogs, and
Yes.
so I'm curious. Explain to our audience, what is a showrunner, and how did you come to do that particular job?
Yes. So that's it was a big turning point for us in our career. So a showrunner, the way I would describe it is someone who, and I ran the show with Tony. So we were co-showrunners.
Right.
We were basically responsible from everything, the development of the project with the creator, the building out of the crew, the building out of the budgets, the securing of the creative,
Wow.
all of the production, post-production, and distribution elements. If it was a decision to be made, it was on our laps, and it was incredible and terrifying.
I'm sure.
It was terrifying. And I remember, I think I aged a decade in the 18 months that we did it.
Yeah.
But it was enthralling, because there you are going, this is the biggest kind of storytelling. We came to that project in a very interesting way. Judy Bowman, who is an incredible casting director.
Oh, I know her. Yeah.
Oh yeah. She's a dear friend and an incredible artist. Called us and said, hey guys, I have a client who wants to produce a 5-minute sizzle reel of a book that he wrote. He thinks it might be great for film or television, and he wants a 5-minute sizzle. And he wants a production services company. He had already written the script. He had hired a director. He had hired a director of photography. We were just production services.
Right.
And we said, great. And we had a meeting with him, and he was lovely. And he said, here's what I want to spend. And I was like, oh, that's way too much money. Seriously, too much money. It's a sizzle. Let's spend a third of that. And he was like, well, that's very responsible. And I was like, no, that's what we should spend.
Yeah.
And we did. We produced a 5-minute sizzle for him at Umbra Stages. It was before we really knew about Umbra Stages, but we needed a large stage to build the sets. And so we did it. Mm-hmm. And after the 5-minute sizzle was greenlit, he was standing on set while this was being shot. And I'm there in the back, being the line producer, and Tony's there. And Tony was like, I read the book and I thought it was really riveting. And the creator and the writer of the book was like, you read the book? You were just hired as the production services company. And Tony was like, always read the book.
Yeah.
And they had an incredible conversation that led to a lunch, that led to a dinner, that led to Tony writing the pilot with the creator. They co-wrote it.
Wow.
Which led to the pilot being greenlit, which led to the entire season being greenlit. And we produced the entire season.
Awesome.
Wow.
Great.
So it was timing and, knowing the right person who believed in us.
And the engagement. What I'm hearing, what you saying is that just like you were fully engaged in the material, and that also, you had like a passion for it. And that does, I think that helps bring these things to life. Like we've been saying throughout with people we've been interviewing, it's a miracle that any of these projects ever get completed,
Absolutely.
So,
And it really is. I find it really is timing and being in the right place at the right time with the right attitude.
Right.
And the right, point of view. Tony's point of view was so clear about what that story was. And it just happened to align beautifully with the creator. And the two of them went into a writer's room for 3 months and came out with, something that I think is, if you look back on it now, right, we filmed it in 2017.
Right.
In the book, which was written a decade earlier, it's set in the middle of a global pandemic where riots are happening. New York City's burning. Oh,
really?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah. And so it premiered during the political uprising of 2020, during the middle of the global pandemic. And people were like, how did this happen? And I was like, a very prescient person named Adam Dunn.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Wow. I
Yeah.
know. And they say, sometimes writers
scary.
say that they're not inventing what they're writing. They're tuning into it. So that's interesting.
That's what he said. He said that he knew all of this was coming because he was watching the financial things that were happening from 2008 on. And he said, it's a preview. So I kind of talked to him now and I'm like, hey, Adam, what's coming next?
Yeah. What's next? Exactly. Any insight for us here?
And
Adam, what did he say?
I need you to pick my lotto numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that movie, Adam McKay, The Big Short, right?
Yeah.
It's about that guy.
Oh yeah.
Same kind of
who
thing.
I get to work with on Succession. Yeah, Adam's great. Yeah,
such a genius show.
Yeah,
My God, I mean,
I'm
what
very
a
grateful
show.
to have my little part on it.
Yeah,
It's fun.
but you know what? Wow, it's fantastic. He's a showrunner that I look up to and go, that's right, pure genius. I have a lot to learn.
Well, when it comes to parts in shows, what do you find is the biggest difference between being a co-star, a guest star, and a series regular for that matter?
Sure. Well, I believe honestly that it's much harder to be a co-star or a guest star where you're jumping into somebody else's sandbox and their film family is fully formed and you're like, hi
guys, I come to play. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I find that to be so stressful versus having a leading role or a recurring role where you're part of the, you're just more, I find it that I'm much more relaxed.
Yeah.
I think nothing is more stressful than my, handful of episodes of Law and Order where you go in and I'm like sweating it from the costume fitting. I'm like, oh man,
yeah.
I know.
So let me segue a little bit from you saying that. So what do you do to get yourself then from that? What do you do to get to be calm and be ready for shooting?
Yeah, it goes back to what my technique teacher from Circle in the Square Theater School,
great school.
Terry Hayden and Jackie Brooks taught me. I put myself in a chair. I put my feet flat on the floor. I put my hands palms up on my legs and I just breathe.
Good.
Really, really, really deep breathing. And it calms my mind and it calms my body. And it just focuses me in a way that I go, all right, what's the worst that could happen? You're
exactly.
Just breathe. I mean, just breathe.
Yeah.
It's a form of meditating, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm very type A and, in good ways and bad. But I find that knowing that I'm absolutely not in control of something is actually better for me because I can quit trying to be in control. I'm just like, okay, all I can do is the best I can do. And,
So that kind of covered what my next question was going to be, because I was going to ask you actually as a multi-hyphenate actor, producer, VO artist, showrunner, or whatever else, is going on. And I can tell that you like to do many different things just by your resume and by the things that you're engaged in. So is there another technique other than just deep breathing, which I know does really work because I do that as well? How do you stay balanced and keep everything, all of these balls up in the air and not let them
that's a great question. And I think some days I do it a lot better than others. This week is actually a perfect week. I am truly exhausted. HBO is wrapping out at our stages. So all 3 stages are flipping while I just wrapped the production of a movie and am starting another movie. So 3 things are kind of happening all at the same time. And I have not been very balanced this week. And what I noticed about that was that I haven't been eating food. You think I'd be thinner. I haven't.
It's that stress.
I haven't had an appetite. I haven't been eating food. I haven't been drinking enough water and I've been very, very tired. And so I thought about this last night, actually, as I was going to sleep. I thought, if you just accept the fact that not everything is going to happen on the time frame you think it needs to.
Nice.
And that's okay. And you can put the things, and I have this whole system, it's going to make you laugh. I have this whole system of colored Post-it notes.
Oh, great.
That I use.
I love it. Yeah.
And I triage what's the most important. And doing that makes me go, all right, everybody out there knows that that I have things I need to accomplish. But if I don't pressure myself to be perfect and to get it all done in a perfect way, I thrive a little bit more. So
that's great.
So I'm finding that the way I maintain balance is to try to cut myself a little bit of slack, try to turn my type A personality into not a type A personality.
A-, and then you feel bad because you got the A-. So you keep, then you try to get the A again.
Exactly. And to really really, really trust the people who are working with me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
handle and to,
Yes.
and to get out of their lane. Like
I
I'm
think
getting
that's
much better
really good. Yeah.
of getting out
Yeah.
of their lane, you know.
And but it's so hard because you want to like go, but I have to control it. You know, I have to
and
make
they're
it
so
work.
good.
But
Yeah.
they're so
like,
good. Yeah. And
Summer.
it's
Like,
really,
Summer, get out of my lane.
yeah, exactly. No, that's
You know?
great. That's so great, Summer. Thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that with
No,
me.
and it sounds like you have a healthy self-awareness of, you know, where you should be, and, you know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try. I mean, I will tell
That's
you
kind of the struggle, right? Is
that
to
it
stay.
is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the harder something is, I often say, okay, what am I doing wrong? Because if it's this difficult, I'm
Right.
probably overthinking,
Right.
overstressing.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, am I tired, hungry, angry, lonely? You know?
Right. Exactly. No, but I know it sounds like a cliche, but those are, you really do need to
Someone
check
just
in.
brought me
Yeah.
water. Someone just brought me water. It's like, she's
Yeah.
thirsty.
Right.
You know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
it's after 7:30. You can make it vodka. It's okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. This
But-
is my kind of show.
And as you were saying,
Yeah.
Exactly.
But-
Exactly.
So we touched on this before about, you know, what you tell other people, you know, just getting into the business. But I would like to know, what advice would you give folks who are just starting as say a production stage manager / producer / showrunner / actor / voiceover artist?
Yeah. How do you get started in that, Summer? Do you have any
Oh,
advice for
man.
how to get started in that?
Man, I would say if you know you want to be in the industry,
Yeah.
you know, maybe it's not just one way, right? So we teach this program, Below the Line Boot Camp, which is a program that takes people who are from underserved communities
Mhm.
or at risk, you know, communities, and it's people that don't have the opportunity to go to college, or maybe are thinking maybe a technical trade, or they're
Mhm.
not even sure what they can do. The first thing I like to say at the very first session is there's a million ways to be involved in this industry, and you
Mhm.
can do a lot of different things that'll bring you joy.
Yeah.
So if you're a person, my advice would be, if you're a person who wants to be a storyteller of some kind, figure out what it is that brings you joy, that
Mhm.
makes you want to get up out of bed and go out there. And if it's an actor, if it's a producer, a writer, a director, take a small step towards it. You know, I
Yeah.
like to give
Yeah.
myself a 5-year plan,
Nice.
you know, not a 5-month plan, not a 5-week plan, 5-year plan. And how am I constantly moving forward? And it might be 2 steps forward, 3 steps sideways.
Yeah.
you
People
know?
forget that part.
It is.
It's not a straight line at
It's
all.
not a straight
Yeah.
line. As long as you're making progress,
Right.
that's our life.
Yeah.
Right. It's,
Yes.
I don't even know what the end point is. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, well, you've accomplished this. When are you going to retire? And I was like, no. I was like,
What?
I've got a lot more I want to do.
Exactly. There's a lot
I'm
more stories
like,
to tell out there for
I'm
sure.
at the 3rd step. I got about 45 more
Right.
to go.
Right. Let me ask you something, because we had a producer on last night too, and we didn't ask this question. Can you just kind of explain a little bit for people who aren't sure, like what's above the line and what's below the line? Could you give us
Sure.
a quick
Yeah,
explanation of
absolutely.
that? Yeah.
Yep. So if we look at it from what the New York State tax credit says,
Yes.
above the line is your creatives. It's your
Mhm.
writer, director, producer, casting director, actors, stunt coordinators, you know, anybody that is working above the line in front of the camera, storytelling.
Mhm.
Your below the line would be your production manager, your director of photography, your camera assistants, your set designers, costume designers, extra talent background,
Right.
production assistants,
Mhm.
carpenters, grips, electrics, all the people who are working, quote unquote, behind the camera
Yes.
to get the story to live. Your teamsters, your drivers, anybody who's part of it would be a below the line. So above the line, the people you see on the screen, or
Right.
their names in the first 10 credits, right?
Yes.
Below the line, the people who are working 16 hours a day.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Without hair and makeup.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that explanation. Yeah.
I.e. me today.
Yeah. Below the line.
Exactly.
I now understand why I felt the way I felt working on some projects, because I was looking up at the line.
Right. There you go. That's right. You were below the line.
Below
Chris.
the line.
Climbing the ladder
Gotta
above
get
the
up to that
That's right.
above the line. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
It's yeah.
We've noticed that there's been several new sound stages popping up in the area, and some have
Yes.
already closed, I think. But would you have any advice to give someone who's opening up a soundstage or getting into the business?
Absolutely. I would say your people skills and the services you provide are as important as the building itself. Because a soundstage is a building, but it is a thriving machine that works hard to get the story told in a safe, convenient way. The things you really need to look at a soundstage is infrastructure, bathrooms, kitchens, parking, electricity, how high the ceiling is, how much weight can the roof hold. All of those things that are super technical are going to make or break a successful stage, in my opinion.
Sure.
Okay, great. Now, could you just do a quick, so what would maybe a typical day in your position as a stage manager for a production soundstage? What would that look like?
Yes. Okay. So I'll tell you exactly what happened on the most recent shoot day at the stage.
Great.
My call time was 4:30 in the morning because that's what time our security staff arrived at 3:45 to turn on the lights and catch the catering company. On this day, crew call was 7 a.m. So crew call was 7 a.m. Security call was 3:30. My call was 4:30.
Okay.
I checked in, made sure that all of the overnight staff that came in to clean and take out the trash and reset the stocked kitchen, make sure the MER filtration systems were all in the green position. Made sure that the parking was ready to receive the Teamsters because they have a very specific parking plan. Had to tow a couple of vehicles that were left by people the day before who thought they'd just leave them there. No, somebody's star camper needed to park in that, so we had to call a tow truck. Then was at the front desk alongside security, ready to receive the first people coming, just to make sure everything was going according to plan, and lived on walkie-talkie for the rest of the 12-hour shoot day. So a stage manager can work 16 to 18 hours a day, no problem.
Sure. And are you managing multiple stages at that time, or just are you assigned to one?
No. So Tony and I also have site reps. We have a site rep who floats between all the stages, who's the person who's like, whoop, dumpster needs to be swapped. This is happening. This is happening.
Gotcha.
When you're actively shooting, it's really hard to be at more than one. So there's a very real world where I'm at stage 1 and 2 and Tony's at stage 4 prepping for stage 3. So we have a very, very incredibly dedicated staff who work way harder than we do to make us look good. Well, I mean, that's a true story. They work so much harder so that we look good.
I'm just thinking how much of a day you've already had starting at 4:30 and how energetic
here we
you
are.
seem right now. And so I appreciate you that much more. I'm just saying.
Yes. I mean,
the adrenaline. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I think people have this mysterious idea that it just sort of happens magically. And I like to really break things down for people so they can see that.
And it's, it's
sometimes work
that
it takes.
Sometimes it's incredible because you're like, oh, this is a great day. And sometimes it's awful. Like the power goes down or the toilets are clogged. And you're like, that's your job to fix.
Yep. How do we get rid of this?
And, the dumpster's full and we just got a new one. I mean, it's the minutia. It's so much attention to detail. And it's the care and feeding of the client, right? They are there spending a lot of money at your space, and they expect a quality of life for their production that has to be met.
So let's say now somebody watching this goes, I want to shoot something at Umbra. How do they do that? How do they
well,
contact you?
They can go to umbrastages.com and they can take the video tour. Umbrastages.com. They can see all the different floor plans and see what size space they might like. And then they can reach out to us. There's a link right there. You can say contact us to check our availability.
Great.
And we work with projects of all size. I tell people, don't be afraid. It's a big fancy stage that has big fancy clients, but we also have first-time filmmakers and small music videos.
Great. Thanks for that.
It's open for all. We always try to find a way
to know that, because I think people do find it like a mysterious thing, like how do we get, so that's great. And then what if people want to find you online? Where do they go to do that?
Well, they can find me in a couple different places. If they want to find me as an actor or voiceover actor, they can find me at summercrockettmoore.com. And if they want to find me as a producer, they can find me at choicefilms.com.
Excellent.
all the places.
Yes, and we will
That's
put
right.
we'll put link and we'll put like how
And
to find
all
you.
the different hair colors. What
There you
hair
go.
color is she now?
Nice. Did I see? I think I saw a bright red in there at one point.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
I?
I was
Yeah.
I'm going to air quote it. I was a natural redhead for 19 years. I mean,
Nice,
you
nice.
guys, everybody
done.
believed it. Everybody believed it. And then the pandemic happened and I went back to my natural color, which is a mousy brown with some gray. Mousy brown with some gray. And
You wear it
and,
well.
and I just put baby lights in it. I just keep putting baby
Oh,
lights.
nice. Very
I'm
nice.
like, it's
yeah.
not gray, it's blonde.
Exactly.
That's
It's
right.
just a little, a little
I
snow,
miss the
little snow here
red.
and there.
I do miss the red though. Red was really fun. But 19 years, I was like, what are you gonna do? A pandemic's gonna make me go back to my roots.
Yeah.
Gotta break
Back
it
to my
up.
roots.
I'm hearing everything you're saying regarding the production and all that. And at the end of the day, after all that, you might just get, or they might just get a few minutes of footage, right?
Yeah. So it was really funny. We did a count the other day. So we just wrapped a Hallmark Christmas movie called
Right.
One December Night. That was an incredible experience. It was my first time having that much fake snow and seeing how the special effects.
Yes, I
just-
love the fake snow for all the Hallmark movies. They have, don't they have
wow.
like a couple of dedicated trucks just to the fake snow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ours was, I think, 42 feet. It was massive.
Yeah.
And they did all different kinds of snow. They had the
Right.
salt snow, the wet snow, the dropping snow.
The cotton batting. Did they
exactly.
lay out the cotton batting?
Tons of cotton batting. And so I think one day, it was our longest day, and we had a couple of hiccups that happened that day. We had to hold for weather. There was lightning, fun things.
Yeah.
But I think our total day was like 13 hours. And at the end of the day, the script report said, minutes done, 2.1 minute. I was like,
Oh my God.
2.1 minutes of
incredible.
story.
Yep.
Wow.
For that
that's
much time.
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
that is
And it's an
crazy.
84-minute movie. So we made an 84-minute movie in 15 days, which is.
Wow. And one
That's
day was only
incredible.
2 of the minutes of the 84.
Yes, it was.
That's
So
why
there, were,
it's
so there were some days where it was like, that's good. Let's get to the next setup, right? I was like, we
Exactly.
got this. Let's go on to the next one.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
that's why it's so interesting to hear how the sausage is made.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know about
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny. We had a live concert day in it's a musical. It's really, really incredible. And Peter Gallagher and Bruce
Wow.
Campbell are doing this live concert, and we had 100 extras.
Wow.
And in the world of COVID, that was a
That's
thing of,
really tough to
itself.
coordinate. Yeah.
Coordinating that. And they're there and they're filming the crowd, and we're doing it. And they did, I think, 14 or 15 takes of the crowd reactions. And as people were leaving, they were like, we had no idea that it takes this long to do one song. And I was like, that is it. That is
Yeah,
the
yep.
sausage.
Yep.
You
That's
know?
the sausage for
But
sure.
they were so great. They had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Summer, do you have any other projects coming up that you'd like our audience to know about?
Yeah, so we have the project that I'm working on right now is called Pinball. It's set in 1972. It is based on a true story. It's being produced by a wonderful company called MPI. And that is starting to film next week. And then our next
Wow.
project after that is an incredible thriller called After Party, written by Tony Glazer,
Ah,
my
great.
partner in all things.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
I'm excited for that one because it's a lot of stunts and a lot of action. And
Yeah.
I love a good action thriller.
Yeah. Yeah. I just got off one of those. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I was
right?
I was the only guy though who didn't get to do any action. I'm like the only character. I just kind of wander into the scene, and wander back out, and then the fighting breaks out.
You're the
so
action relief. You're
I
the
was,
action
yeah,
relief.
or I actually am the prep for the act. Like I'm like
Oh, I
the
love
sign, like the stillness before the storm. So it was kind of fun.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was kind of
That's
cool.
nice.
Yeah, it was kind
That's
of fun.
good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fun
Well, so when
stuff.
people rewind to see the action again, they'll start with you.
That's
You're
right.
like
That's
you're
right.
the
Oh, that's
jumping
right.
off point. I
In
love
fact,
it.
I'm pretty sure, Wayne, they will skip the action and just go to you.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
I
thank
mean,
you,
I
Chris.
would.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks
I
for
would.
that.
You're riveting. You're riveting, darling.
That man who walked in, I felt it.
That's right. The drunk at the bar. He was so drunk and so good. Yeah, it was great.
The story pivoted on him.
That's right.
I
Anyway.
believe it. I believe it. Game changer. It's a game changer.
I did tell somebody on set, I was like, I think there needs to be a spin-off of my character. They're like, I would watch that, honestly.
I would watch
Indeed.
that if it's you. I would
That's right.
watch it. Yeah. Mhm.
Fun stuff. Fun
Well,
stuff.
we've kind of come to the end, and
Yeah.
thank you so much,
Oh,
Summer,
it's
for
my
being
pleasure.
here with us. And
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, no, I can't thank you enough. It was such a great time.
Well, listen, come visit us in Newburgh. We'll go to Hudson Taco.
Awesome. Yes.
That you can count on.
Yeah.
Okay,
One of my
good.
favorite places.
We'll definitely do that. Yeah.
That's right.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Sure.
And maybe a margarita or two there. They're pretty good.
100%. I'll meet you at the bar.
I heard from a friend.
Yeah.
But anyway, for those of you watching at home, don't forget to check out all our other great content at the HunterMountainFilmFestival.com. And once again, we are online again this year from October 22nd through the 24th.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much, Summer. And for the folks at home, we want to thank you for being a part of our film and TV community. And please, folks, remember to stay safe, be well, and keep telling those stories.
Hey, Wayne, you know what time it is?
I sure do, Chris. It's time to
Roll
the
the
credits.
credits.
Yes. Bye, Summer. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.